You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 12th of May. India fulfilled all objectives of Operation Sindoor, say security officials. Gilgit Baltistan traders protest illegal taxes and neglect at source dry port. And Bangladesh bans activities of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League. And now for all the details. As India and Pakistan agreed to a fragile understanding to halt military action along the western and northern borders, New Delhi has said that Operation Sindoor, launched to punish the perpetrators of the horrific April 22 Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 innocent lives, has achieved all its military, political and psychological objectives. We have a report.
On May 10th, India and Pakistan agreed to halt military action after days of hostilities along the line of control and international border. New Delhi declared that Operation Sindoor, launched in the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack to target terror outfits carrying out attacks in India, achieved all its military, political and psychological objectives. The Pahalgam terror attack, which killed 26 individuals, including a Nepali national, was claimed by a proxy of the Pakistan-based terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba. In its aftermath, New Delhi accused Islamabad of aiding terrorism and announced a slew of measures against Pakistan, including keeping the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Sources said the decision was taken because Pakistan's support for terrorism violated the treaty's preamble, which emphasizes goodwill and neighborliness. While diplomatic measures were announced immediately, India made its intent clear for military operations on May 1st. In a telephonic conversation with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar conveyed New Delhi's decision to strike terror outfits in Pakistan, adding there should be no doubt about India's resolve. 6 days later, on May 7th, the Indian Armed Forces launched Operation Sindoor, hitting 9 terrorist infrastructure sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. According to the Indian Armed Forces, the strikes eliminated more than 100 terrorists, including Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf and Mudassir Ahmed, who were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast.
I have no doubt in my mind that we achieved total surprise, and those strikes across those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed, including high-value targets such as Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf and Mudassir Ahmed that were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast.
Detailing the Indian operations, the Indian Army's DGMO, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, said he contacted his Pakistani counterpart, Major General Kashif Abdulla, after India's operation against terror outfits. Pakistan's response was dismissive with threats of retaliation. As expected, Pakistani forces responded aggressively but ineffectively. Pakistan launched drone and missile attacks on Indian military targets, including Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot and Amritsar, in operations likened to Hamas-style tactics. Civilian populations were also targeted by Pakistani forces shelling across the line of control. On May 8th to 9th, Pakistan escalated with Operation Bunyanan Mahsus, deploying 300 to 400 Turkish-made Asisguard Songar drones to target 36 Indian locations, including religious sites. India's integrated counter-UAS grid and air defense systems neutralized most threats, though Pakistan's armed drones damaged a medical center in Udhampur and caused a few civilian injuries in Ferozepur. On May 9th to 10th, India launched devastating precision airstrikes on 11 Pakistani airbases: Rafiki, Murid, Chaklala, Nurkan, Rahim Yarkhan, Sukur, Chunian, Sargodha, Polari, Jacobabad, and radar sites in Pasrur, Sialkot, Lahore, and Gujranwala. The Rahim Yarkhan runway was flattened, and Nur Khan suffered significant damage. India also retaliated heavily against the shelling at the line of control. According to Lieutenant General Ghai, The action resulted in the deaths of at least 35 to 40 Pakistani soldiers along the line of control between May 7th and 10th. The Indian side reiterated that Operation Sindoor targeted terrorists, not civilians. Following India's action on May 10th, Lieutenant General Guy received a call from his Pakistani counterpart, after which both sides agreed to an understanding to end military actions along the borders, with immediate effect. However, the truce was broken within hours. Highlighting PM Modi's direction to respond to bullets with bombs, the Indian military has said that repeated violations will be answered in a punitive manner.
The Pakistan Army has reported to have lost approximately 35 to 40 personnel in artillery and small arms firing on the line of control.
The aim was not to inflict casualties, but in case there have been, it is for them to count. Our job is to hit the target, not to count the body bags.
Operation Sindoor has achieved its military, political and psychological objectives, establishing a new normal in counter-terrorism, Indian officials said. Sources emphasized that Pakistan must accept this reality, with no place safe for terrorists, highlighting PM Modi's declaration that terrorists will be reduced to dust, reflecting India's resolve. Government sources confirmed that India will present evidence of Pakistan's complicity in terrorism to the UNSC 1267 Sanctions Committee next week, targeting TRF for designation as a terrorist organization, imposing sanctions and travel bans. The move aims to expose Pakistan's shielding of terror groups like TRF, linked to the Pahalgam attack and other Kashmir attacks.
And normalcy slowly returned across the towns on the western and northern borders along Pakistan after military leadership of both the countries reached an understanding to halt military actions following days of heightened tensions. Daily life was gradually resuming, with shops reopening and people stepping out for regular purchases in Punch, which suffered maximum civilian casualty in shelling from Pakistan. Similar scenes were witnessed in Jammu, Rajouri, Pathankot and Ferozepur, which saw regular intrusions from Pakistani drones during days of hostilities. Other border towns across Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat were also abuzz with shoppers. While Pakistani forces violated the understanding reached between the Director General of Military Operations of both the countries, no such violation was reported on intervening night of May 11-12. India has also issued NOTAMs allowing 32 airports across the northern and western states, which were closed due to military operations in the region, to resume operations with immediate effect.
जब से ये सीज़ फायर हुई है तब से तो एटमॉस्फेयर ठीक हो रहा है, बाज़ार में रौनक धीरे धीरे लौट रही है। कल भी बाज़ार खुले, कल तो वैसे संडे था, आज लगता है कि और भी बाज़ार में लोग शॉपिंग करने आएंगे और अपने अपने काम पर जाएंगे। तो ये एक पॉजिटिव मैसेज है और हम चाहते हैं कि ये हमेशा के लिए ही अब इम्प्लीमेंट हो जाए। सीज़ फायर हो तो अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि वॉर में नुकसान होता है सभी का, चाहे कोई भी हो, इसलिए वॉर कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है।
Meanwhile, leaders from across South Asian countries have welcomed the understanding between India and Pakistan after days of hostilities. In a statement, Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said his country warmly welcomes the development, adding it was commendable that leadership replaced guns with words before a conflagration broke out. Notably, Colombo had said it will continue non-alignment policy, adopting a neutral stance in the conflict between India and Pakistan. In a similar statement, Bangladesh Chief Advisor Muhammed Yunus also welcomed the end of hostilities. While Bangladesh has been traditionally an ally of New Delhi, it has drifted towards Pakistan under Yunus's administration. While the hostilities have ended, India has said it will take punitive measures against Pakistan if it tries to violate the agreement reached between the top military leadership on May 10. Moving on, traders in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit Baltistan are up in arms over what they call illegal taxation and systemic delays at the Pakistan-China border. Protesting what they see as years of state neglect, they have now threatened to block cross-border trade. A report.
Traders in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit Baltistan recently staged a protest at the Pakistan-China dry port in Sost, accusing customs officials of extorting illegal taxes and deliberately delaying their consignments. The protesters said despite paying various types of taxes, their goods remain stranded for months, causing severe financial losses. They vowed to shut down the Punjab border if their concerns were ignored. They demanded an end to arbitrary taxation, removal of corrupt officials and timely clearance of consignments.
हमने अपने मुतालिबात को इन रिटर्न फॉर्म में लाया है जो कि हमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली जो हमें इम्यूनिटीज़ है उससे हटकर हमने 200 अबोव टैक्सेस दिए बावजूद हमें हरासा किया गया और डेली टैक्टिक्स यूटिलाइज किए गए और तकरीबन 8 से 10 महीना 12 महीने से भी कंसाइनमेंट्स जो है ना स्टैक पड़े हुए हैं और मौसूब वहाँ दफ्तरों में ग्रीन टी पी के कहीं जाने का जहमत भी नहीं फरमाते हैं। अगर ऐसे ऑफिशियल्स को हर जगह मुतयन किया गया तो मेरे ख्याल में सारा एफबीआर का जो अभी रेवेन्यू 800 कई अरब रुपए का जो शॉर्टफॉल है ऐसे नाहल अफसरों से ही मोहित पाया जाता है।
मेरा ताजरों का कंसाइनमेंट 11 महीने में क्लियर नहीं होता है तो न कोई टीआईआर चलेगा न कोई और कंटेनर चाइना से पाकिस्तान आएगा। अगर चाइना पाकिस्तान ट्रेड चलाना है तो गिलगित बाल्टिस्तान के छोटे बड़े ताजरों को इनके जो है ना मसाइल को हल करके चलाना पड़ेगा। हमने मुत्तफ़िक़तौर पर फैसला किया मंगल के दिन 11 बजे हम लॉन्ग मार्च करेंगे। हम खुंजराब में जाकर बिल्कुल ब्लॉक से बॉर्डर को हम बंद करेंगे।
Gilgit Baltistan is critical to the China-Pakistan economic corridor, but the people of the region are consistently sidelined in federal policy and economic planning. Traders argue that while the occupied region plays a central role in cross-border trade, local economic rights are continuously trampled.
Moving on, the Taliban regime in Afghanistan has banned chess in the country until further notice due to fears the game is a source of gambling. Multiple media reports have suggested the game has been prohibited indefinitely until its compatibility with Islamic law can be determined. Chess is the latest sport to be restricted, while women in Afghanistan are essentially barred from participating in sports at all. Since seizing power in August 2021, the Taliban has steadily imposed restrictions in line with their interpretation of the Islamic laws. Last year, the authorities had banned free fighting, such as mixed martial arts, in professional competition, saying it was too violent and problematic with respect to Sharia. And succumbing to protesters' pressure, Bangladesh interim government led by Muhammed Yunus has banned all activities of the Awami League, the political party of deposed former PM Sheikh Hasina, under the country's Anti-Terrorism Act. The decision, announced late Saturday, follows days of street protest led by the student-driven National Citizen Party, which emerged from last year's uprising that toppled Hasina, along with hardline Islamist party Jamaat-e-Islami, demanding Awami League be designated a terrorist organization. The ban would remain in place until the trial of the party and its leadership over deaths of hundreds of protesters at the International Crimes Tribunal is completed, the interim government said in a statement. The government also announced an amendment to the ICT Act, allowing the tribunal to prosecute not only individuals but also political parties and organizations. The change clears the way for the Awami League to be tried as a collective entity for alleged crimes committed during its time in power.
বাংলাদেশের আওয়ামী লীগ ও তার নেতাদের বিচার কার্য সম্পন্ন না হওয়া পর্যন্ত দেশের নিরাপত্তা ও সার্বভৌমত্ব রক্ষা, জুলাই আন্দোলনের নেতাকর্মীদের নিরাপত্তা এবং আন্তর্জাতিক অপরাধ ট্রাইব্যুনালের বাদী ও সাক্ষীদের সুরক্ষার জন্য সন্ত্রাস বিরোধী আইনের অধীনে সাইবার স্পেস সহ আওয়ামী লীগের যাবতীয় কার্যক্রম নিষিদ্ধ করার সিদ্ধান্ত গ্রহণ করা হয়েছে।
এই যে আওয়ামী লীগের নিষিদ্ধের যে দাবিটি সেটি রাজনৈতিক দলের হলো, পরবর্তীতে কিন্তু এটি একটি গণদাবিতে রূপান্তরিত হয়। অর্থাৎ বাংলাদেশের আপামর ছাত্র জনতা কিন্তু আওয়ামী লীগের নিষিদ্ধের দাবিতে রাজপথে স্বতঃস্ফূর্তভাবে অংশগ্রহণ করে এবং আজকে আপামর ছাত্র জনতার আওয়ামী লীগের নিষিদ্ধের মাধ্যমে আপামর ছাত্র জনতার বিজয় হয়েছে বলে আমরা মনে করছি।
The Awami League, which was founded in 1949 in East Pakistan, dismissed the decision as illegitimate and said all decisions of the illegal government are illegal. In a statement, Bangladesh's oldest political party said the day will be marked as a black day in the history of Bangladesh. Slamming the Yunus government decision, Awami League said the party under whose leadership Bangladesh achieved independence and emerged as a sovereign state has now had its activities banned by an unelected, anti-democratic, fascist government devoid of public mandate. This proves that the fascist Yunus regime seeks to turn the soil of Bangladesh into fertile ground for anti-liberation forces and extremist groups. It added, with the ban, Yunus regime strangled democratic norms, fueled ongoing program against dissenters and strangled inclusivity, all undemocratic steps under pretext of making trial of July-August violence and reform scheme. This fascist government has made this move in an attempt to suppress the people's freedom of speech and solidify its unlawful grip on power, Hasina-led Awami League said. Moving on, India has extended vital financial support to Maldives by rolling over a $50 million Treasury Bill, the High Commission of India in Malé announced on Monday. Maldivian Foreign Minister Abdulla Khaleel, in a post on X, expressed gratitude, calling the assistance a reflection of the close bonds of friendship. This move follows a request by the Maldivian government, with the State Bank of India subscribing to the bill for another year on an interest-free basis. Since March 2019, India has annually facilitated such rollovers as part of a unique government-to-government arrangement, providing emergency financial aid to its key maritime neighbour. The High Commission emphasized that this gesture aligns with India's neighbourhood-first policy and Vision Mahasagar, underscoring India's consistent support for the Maldives. In addition to the Treasury Bill, India recently extended a special export quota for essential commodities to the Maldives, further strengthening bilateral ties. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.